There you go. No, I'm saying boom. So then when you extend it, boom, this is protecting you. This, you know what I mean? Because look, if I throw a hook, if I throw a hook,
you ain't here working. Get back on the mat. Get back on the mat. Go back.
He don't be doing shit for the gram. You niggas can't. That's some bitch cool. I jumped on the
What has the neck?
Hey, how you like? Oh yeah. Ah!
Every fighter will like to move up in weight.
Only special talent get to do that. And he's that pound for pound special, once in a lifetime talent that's able to do that.
The impact of his punch as he moves up in weight, it just will not be the same.
This is how you get beat as a great fighter. You move too far up the weight classes.
As I get older, you never know how your body is going to react.
Yeah, beginning. Oh yeah. Living the dream, baby. We going up.
But I'm confident that I'll be good. I'm looking forward to feeling more energized, stronger. 147 was tough. The last fight, it took a lot out of me, weigh-ins, but as you can see, from me training so hard, my body just bounced right back to normal because, it's used to going through that trauma. It's easy to become champion. It's hard to stay champion.
I thought I would never say this, but Canelo's scared. Literally, I thought I would, as a fighter, I know fighters are not scared. But wow, we've been begging Canelo, please, Canelo, please. We want this fight. I want it as a fan. And I want this fight because it's a great fight for boxing, for the sport we love. Turkey's making the best fights, and Canelo's not giving.
There have been heated arguments about whether or not Terence Crawford should fight Canelo Alvarez this year. But the big surprise came when Oscar de la Hoya said that Canelo might be avoiding this task, which made fans question his reputation. When Oscar de la Hoya talked about Crawford's chances against Canelo, he didn't hold back. He said, "I think we're overlooking how skillful he is, how powerful he was, and, at 154, Crawford didn't really look too dangerous up in the ring." De la Hoya's words hit like a jab at Crawford's credibility in this matchup. He suggested that Crawford's dominance at lower weights doesn't translate to the kind of threat that could unsettle Canelo, while Crawford has silenced critics time and again. De la Hoya's assessment paints him as vulnerable when stepping into deeper water. Crawford's skill might not be enough to overcome the massive challenge awaiting him at a higher weight. This statement sets the tone for a narrative where size is portrayed as an unbeatable factor. Building on his critique, de la Hoya delivered a hard reality check, focusing on the age-old debate of skill versus size and how history has rarely sided with the smaller fighter in battles like this. He stated, "Imagine Canelo being a bigger guy, being a beast up in the ring. It's almost like a no contest. I mean, come on, when has a smaller good guy ever beaten a good, bigger guy? It's never happened in the history of the sport, De la Hoya's statement cuts deep, challenging the very idea of Crawford pulling off an upset. He presents the matchup as an insurmountable task for Crawford, emphasizing Canelo's size, strength, and proven power in higher weight classes, while fans dream of the ultimate showdown. De la Hoya's skepticism adds fuel to the debate. Is this a fair criticism, or is it an attempt to hurt Crawford's reputation before the fight even takes place? Either way, the debate rages on, and the stakes only get higher just when the dust seemed to settle on de la Hoya's scathing critique of Crawford's chances. He flipped the script totally in a shocking twist. The boxing legend stated that Crawford not only has a chance, but could beat Canelo every single time. This quick change shocked the boxing world, and fans are still trying to figure out why he was so sure of the smaller fighter.
So first of all, I give Crawford all the credit in the world for even thinking about possibly fighting Canelo. But if that fight ever takes place, I have Crawford 1000%. And people are going to say, oh, well, you're contradicting yourself. I kind of am, but Crawford is also a big guy. Crawford is a big guy who can handle a Canelo because they're the same size.
It's a huge contrast that De La Hoya now sees Crawford as the clear favorite after downplaying his chances earlier. This brave turn of events has started new arguments about who really has the upper hand, which is making things even more tense before the possible fight. It's a statement that challenges everything said before, pushing the story to an explosive new level. De La Hoya further continued and dropped another bombshell, praising Crawford's all-round boxing skills and putting him above Canelo, highlighting Crawford's precision footwork and adaptability. De La Hoya said that he was a much better boxer than Canelo in terms of skill. This statement didn't just fuel the controversy. It outright challenged the long-standing image of Canelo as the most complete fighter in the sport.
Crawford is a guy who punches hard, but he doesn't rely on his power. He relies on his footwork. He relies on his speed, on his change-ups. He relies on his combinations. He relies on his mind. And I believe that Crawford is a way better boxer than Canelo.
De La Hoya's comments cast a shadow on Canelo's reliance on power and durability, implying that Crawford's finesse and tactical brilliance could reveal weaknesses in his game by positioning Crawford as the smarter, faster, and more versatile boxer. De La Hoya has sparked fierce debates over whether Canelo's brute strength alone can survive Crawford's calculated approach. The battle lines in this matchup are now clearer than ever, with skill versus power taking center stage as the debate over Crawford versus Canelo increased. Hearn joined in with a brutally honest take questioning whether the fight will ever happen. His comments brought a new layer of controversy to the discussion, suggesting that Canelo himself may not be fully committed to the idea of facing Crawford. This added fuel to claims that Canelo might be dodging a challenge that could redefine his reputation.
I'd be very surprised if that fight happens. I think His Excellency has been pushing that fight. It didn't seem like it was something that Canelo was really up for, to be honest.
Hearn's blunt assessment cast doubt on Canelo's willingness to take on Crawford by saying external pressure rather than personal desire is driving talks. He slightly questions Canelo's fighting spirit. These comments put a spotlight on whether Canelo is truly chasing greatness or simply protecting his career from unnecessary risks. As the buzz around the possible CR versus Canelo fight got louder, Canelo Alvarez himself stepped into the conversation. After weeks of speculation and criticism, Canelo decided to address the claims head-on, offering a response that many saw as both confident and dismissive. His words sent shockwaves through the boxing community, drawing a clear line between his self-assured dominance and the doubts raised by critics, while Hearn's remarks questioned Canelo's willingness. The Mexican superstar's reaction flipped the script, painting Crawford as a task he was more than ready to conquer. However, the tone of his statement left fans and analysts debating whether it was pure confidence or an underestimation of Crawford's capability. He stated, "I'm in. Why not? Don't get me wrong, he's a great fighter, but for me, in my weight class, it's an easy fight, easy money." Canelo's bold declaration added a new layer to the controversy, with many interpreting it as both a challenge and a dismissal of Crawford's threat by calling the fight easy money. He not only downplayed Crawford's skill, but also fueled speculation that he might not be taking the potential matchup seriously. Fans are now left wondering if this confidence will backfire or if it's a testament to his dominance at higher weights. Either way, the stakes have never been higher. Canelo's bold statement seemed to silence critics, but Hearn wasn't convinced while Canelo exuded confidence, calling the fight easy money. Hearn continued to peel back the layers, offering a deeper look into the dynamics at play. His remarks hinted that beneath Canelo's bravado might lie a strategic hesitation, one rooted not in fear, but in concern over the optics of the fight. Hearn didn't stop there, adding more detail to his observations about Canelo's hesitation. His perspective gives insight into the mindset of one of boxing's biggest stars, raising uncomfortable questions about whether Canelo views the fight as a lose-lose situation. Like when I've spoken to Canelo before about the fight, I think he's kind of feeling as when I beat Crawford, everyone's going to say I've beaten 150. For these remarks suggest that Canelo is wary of the narrative surrounding a potential win against Crawford. Instead of being celebrated, he fears criticism for defeating a smaller opponent. This shows a calculated approach from Canelo, prioritizing perception over taking risks that could cement his legacy. Hearn's analysis took a sharp turn, diving deeper into Canelo's present preferences in choosing opponents. He suggested that at this stage of his career, Canelo might be leaning toward matchups that fit more with his comfort zone rather than high-stakes challenges. He stated, "And I don't think he wants to be facing guys that are just moving all the time." This statement draws a clear contrast between Canelo's chosen style of opponents and Crawford's elusive strategic approach. Hearn's comments further underline the view that Canelo may be avoiding fights that force him to adapt and step out of his usual fighting rhythm. Hearn kept painting a picture of Crawford's strategy as a direct clash with Canelo's preferences. He highlighted how Crawford's tactical game could make the fight unappealing for Canelo, adding another layer to the debate about whether the fight is truly viable.
Come to fight. And Crawford can't really come to fight like that in that fight because he's at a massive size disadvantage and he can't be standing in front of him.
By emphasizing the size disparity, Hearn subtly hints that Canelo might view the fight as unfairly stacked in his favor. He argues that Crawford's agility and strategy could expose vulnerabilities in Canelo's game, making the matchup less attractive from a legacy standpoint. And considering that this fight would force Crawford into a defensive survival-orientated strategy rather than allowing him to showcase his true skill, this adds another dimension to the controversy, leaving fans divided over whether Canelo is avoiding a challenge or if the matchup itself is inherently flawed, adding to the heated debate. Haney shared his perspective on the Crawford vs. Canelo fight, striking a balance between respect and reality. His remarks acknowledged the greatness of both fighters, a quietly hint at the sheer physical advantage that Canelo holds by stressing the challenge of beating him at 168 sounds. Haney brought a new layer of skepticism to Crawford's chances, fueling the narrative is that size and power may eventually overshadow skill in this matchup.
At the end of the day, they're two great pound fighters, and if they feel like, it makes sense and they want to fight each other, stylistically, it's a great fight. But, Canelo, he's a big dude, and I think it'd be hard for anyone to beat him at 168. But, it's definitely a big money fight, and that's why we're all in boxing.
Haney comments, too. I'll stress the financial allure of the fight, pointing out that the spectacle is as much about business as it is about legacy. This viewpoint challenges fans to question whether the fight is being driven by true competitive spirit or the promise of a massive payday. His comments only deepen the divide between those who believe Crawford can overcome the odds and those who see this as an uphill battle to a steep decline. The controversy surrounding this fight continues to grow, with views becoming as polarized as ever as the discussion around Crawford versus Canelo continued. Rosier shared his unfiltered opinion, adding a pragmatic viewpoint to the fiery debate. Rosier, known for his sharp boxing views, focused on Crawford's challenges in stepping up to a higher weight class and the monumental task of taking on a fighter like Canelo. His remarks underscored the physical and strategic hurdles Crawford would face, raising doubts about whether the fight would truly benefit his reputation. Rosier's take added weight to the case that Crawford's leap and weight might be more than even a pound-for-pound great can handle, while fans are captivated by the idea of this matchup. Rosier's analysis offered a sobering reminder of the realities that come with such a bold move. He stated the only thing he could possibly do at this point to regain that standing is to beat someone of note in another weight class, and I think 54 is going to be enough for him. Rosier's statement highlights the delicate balance Crawford must keep in solidifying his legacy. He accepts the importance of taking risks, but warns against overreaching by stepping too far beyond his weight class. While many see Crawford's ambition as admirable, Rosier paints a picture of a fighter possibly biting off more than he can chew. His remarks put doubt on whether Crawford's skills can fully translate to a better division. Rosier's critique didn't stop there. He went deeper into the specific challenges Crawford would face against Canelo, focusing on the immense gap in size and power. His perspective mirrored the concerns of many in the boxing community who believed that moving up to face a physically dominant opponent like Canelo might be a step too far for Crawford. He stated that he would go up to fighting, quote-unquote, if he should happen. Canelo, I don't see that ending well. It's just too much and too far to go. Rosier's stark conclusion adds a dose of reality to the fantasy of Crawford versus Canelo by calling it too much and too far. He underscores the uphill fight Crawford would face not just in the ring but also in convincing critics that he belongs at Canelo's level physically. Rosier's candid analysis strengthens the case that this fight, while intriguing, might be more about spectacle than a fair contest. It leaves fans questioning whether this is the defining fight Crawford needs or a risk that could tarnish his reputation. Rosier didn't hold back as he continued to dissect Crawford's position, shifting his focus to the challenges awaiting him at 154 pounds, highlighting the depth of competition in the weight class. Rosier made it clear that Crawford's path to greatness is far from straightforward. His remarks implied that Crawford doesn't need to chase Canelo to prove his worth when there's already a gauntlet of dangerous opponents waiting in his current division.
I mean, he's lost twice to the same man, so that can be a situation, or it could be that Usyk just has his number. But until I see him lose to another heavyweight, then I'm gonna have to say he's still his number 2.
Rosier's words carry a strong message. Crawford's ambitions might be better served by dominating 150 before even considering a move to fight Canelo, drawing attention to the stacked roster of fighters he casts doubt on whether Crawford is biting off more than he can chew by skipping straight to the higher weight class. It's a bold viewpoint that challenges the idea of this fight being the final test of Crawford's legacy, sparking even more debate among fans and analysts. Rosier continued to add fuel to the discussion, diving deeper into Crawford's situation while acknowledging his exceptional skill. Rosier stressed the sheer level of competition at 154 pounds. His remark served as a warning that Crawford's journey to establish dominance in this division is no walk in the park, with several world-class fighters ready to challenge him. By pointing to the current talent pool, Rosier subtly questioned whether Crawford's attention should shift to conquering his weight class rather than leaping to 168. This perspective presents challenges. The narrative of Crawford chasing Canelo adds another layer to the already heated discussion. He stated, "But I think that's going to be a tough task. There are some really exceptional 154-pounders now, and they keep knocking it out." Rosier's statement underscores the depth and danger of the 154 pounds division, painting a picture of a battlefield Crawford must first conquer. His words highlight the significant risks Crawford would face even within his own weight class, let alone at 168. Rosier's perspective reinforces the idea that Crawford has plenty of challenges ahead without adding the monumental leap to Canelo's division. Rosier didn't stop there. Doubling down on the enormity of the task Crawford faces, he pointed out the staggering gap between 154 and 168, portraying the jump as a nearly insurmountable climb. His remarks shifted the narrative goes back to the realities of weight divisions, urging fans to reconsider the practicality of Crawford's ambitions. He stated, "So I think, it would be a monumental climb to go up to 168 when there's so much work in 154. Rosier's blunt analysis paints Crawford's potential leap to 168 as not just ambitious, but almost reckless by emphasizing the stacked competition at 154. He questions whether Crawford is neglecting unfinished business for the allure of a blockbuster fight. Rosier's view adds a controversial angle, framing Crawford's move as a gamble that could overshadow his legacy if not carefully managed. As the debate rages on, Johnny Ortiz chimed in with a blunt, polarizing view, firmly siding with Canelo. Ortiz highlighted the natural strength edge Canelo holds, framing it as an insurmountable obstacle for Crawford. His remarks suggested that Crawford is at a disadvantage not just physically, but also in negotiating power, further tilting the scales in Canelo's direction.
Was just naturally too strong. I don't see Terence Crawford going to 168, and I don't see Terence Crawford having the leverage to make Canelo come down and make him in the catch weight. I think Canelo got all leverage, so all the advantages to Canelo. So I think that's just really a big payday for Terence Crawford. That's all he's looking at.
Ortiz took added fuel to the controversy, emphasizing that Crawford lacks the power to demand a catch weight or force Canelo out of his comfort zone. This view portrays the potential fight as inherently one-sided, sparking further discussion about whether Crawford is overreaching or if Canelo is exploiting his advantages to avoid risks. The conversation surrounding this fight has only grown more divisive, with Ortiz's comments drawing a clear line between physical dominance and strategic positioning in boxing. Adding another layer to the heated discussion, David Benavidez entered the fray, bringing his own claim to the spotlight, while the attention has been on Crawford's bold move to challenge Canelo. Benavidez has made it clear that he thinks he is more deserving of the fight. His remarks not only shifted attention toward his own credentials, but also questioned the legitimacy of Crawford's bid to face Canelo.
Crawford throwing his hat in to want to fight Canelo at 168.
I mean, everybody wants to fight Canelo. It's the money fight, you know what I mean? I think even Inoue would come up to fight Canelo if Canelo wanted to fight him. I mean, I don't want to see Crawford to fight Canelo, to be honest with you, but it would be, I'm not saying it wouldn't be a great fight, it would be a great fight, but I feel like if I deserve my opportunity. And and after this fight, what else are they gonna say? You know what I mean? This is a tough fight. You know, the top people ranked at the WC are fighting each other, so I mean, it shouldn't be.
Benavidez's statement struck a nerve, implying that Crawford is stepping into territory that might not yet belong to him by framing the possible fight as a monumental task for Crawford. Benavidez stressed the risks involved while simultaneously boosting his own case for a showdown with Canelo. His perspective adds yet another dimension to the controversy as fans debate who truly deserves a shot at boxing's biggest star. The rumor surrounding a potential Canelo versus Crawford showdown has sparked one of the most heated debates in boxing today, with experts and fighters weighing in. Opinions remain divided, from worries about size and power to discussions about legacy and skill. This fight has captured the imagination of fans around the world. While some see it as a chance for Crawford to prove his greatness, others argue that the fight favors Canelo due to his physical benefits and dominant track record at higher weights as the dust settles on these fiery discussions. One question looms large. Will this fight happen? And if it does, who truly has the upper hand? Will it cement Crawford's place as one of the all-time greats, or will Canelo reinforce his dominance as the face of boxing? What do you think? Can Crawford beat the odds, or is Canelo just too strong and experienced? Should this fight even take place, or are there other matchups that make more sense? Let us know your ideas in the comments section below. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more updates, debates, and in-depth boxing analysis. Stay tuned for more videos like this.